Hi, it's Angus from Zubby's Honey. I've been asked to give a bit of a video about security, and there's security that is basically in three areas. One is the security actually of the hive, that's the hive itself, the box and so on. How's that kept secure? The second one is the security obviously with the sites, where you go to with the sites. And the third one would be security more related to pollination and the migration of bees and the security for the bees. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here on the table. So you can see there's an array of stuff here. Firstly, my hive tools, which I'll put out of the way, and this is the mechanism that keeps the lid on the hive. It's basically a drill, and it's battery drill, everybody has them, and it is a bolt inside, and the mechanism allows the drill to pull the chain. That's all it is, all it does, and it hides the chain away from prying eyes. So these are grapple hooks or hooks that are used. I'll show you how they're used later. And this is a band. This is metal. It's bent 90 degrees. It's only so long, and it goes underneath the hive. So it'll go underneath the hive. This is for a 10-frame hive, and this is for an 8-frame hive. It can be 35 mils wide, it can be 20 mils wide, but it doesn't really matter. But it goes underneath. It's screwed in the bottom of the hive and on the sides of the hive. So, and this is wire. It's used. It's quite. I think it's 1.6 mil wire, 2 mil wire that I use. And I'll show you how that works later on. Okay, so this is the normal standard Langstroth hive, and you'll see there's a brick on top, and there's a knife, a pen knife. So, and there for a reason. This is the way most beekeepers throughout the world do their bees. That is, you'll normally find a brick on top, and you'll find strapping. Canvas strapping, either one strap or two straps, and then one over the side. Now the strapping is not really, it's fine for when you're transporting or you just want to keep the lid down for wind, that sort of thing. But in terms of vandalism, this knife will go through that strapping very, very quickly. All you need to do, a couple of seconds, you're through the strapping, and they take the stone, throw it away, they open the lid, throw that down, and boom, they're into your hive, into your supers, and you've lost your bees basically. So it's very easy. Some of the Langstroth have what they call an inner cover, something like this, a very thin piece of wood, masonite, sometimes it's other wood, and it's normally got a hole in the middle, and there's sometimes 8 mil pine or something as a frame. I used to have those in the early days, but I threw them all away because it would allow the ants to breed between this and the lid. So when you'd open up, you just find eggs everywhere. Okay, so that was the one reason. The other one was that when you put the hive tool in to lift this up, if you had wax moth, it would break, and you had to peel this thing off, and it would break along the edges, and in my view, wasted time, throw it away. Now the other thing is that this is what's called a migration lid. So it's the same on the front and the back as the standard Langstroth lid, but it can slide along like that. Okay. It's actually for packing the hives easier that way, and strapping them would be a little bit more secure if they strapped them with canvas strappings. Secure meaning that the lid wouldn't be able to shift that much. Okay, So let's move on now to the way I do my security on the hives. Okay, so this is now my standard hive. Notice that firstly this is masonite. The badger does not like to go through and struggles to get through this masonite. It's better than 20 millimeters plywood. Really works well, particularly if it's been wax-soled. The outsides of my hives have been wax-soled, not the insides. I never do the inside. I do put sometimes these corners on here. It's galvanized iron, gives the hive a bit more robust in the felt. Now there's the band, and you can see it's screwed in there, and I'll just move it over, and it comes around the side. It's screwed in there and there and there, and it has these hooks like that, you'll see, and also an eye over here. Very important. These are different heights. They're welded onto this piece of wood that's welded on there. So let's have a look. The other thing, of course, that's very important is to have your registration number. Other beekeepers are less likely to steal your hives if they see a registration number. I've got mine sometimes 5-6 times on my hives. This number here is for my own personal record to know where my hive is at which site. These, of course, you know about. That's for transporting of the bees, and so that they get air when you do transport them. But we'll get into that later with migration. Okay, so here we are at one of the hives. So what I've done is I've put the hive down on top of some, this is expanded metal, and this is also, if there are badgers in the area, then they can't get between here. They really hate this expanded metal. A little bit sticks out in the front, some sticks out at the back. You'll notice there are 4 pieces of metal here. These are rebar. So what I do is I take my yellow fellow and I hit that into the ground till about there, so it goes in at least there. If there's soft ground, it needs to go in this deep. So that's 40 centimeters or so. And I'll put one on each side where the chain is, and if I'm concerned about badger, I will put one in the front and one in the back. And the reason there is that the badger will not be able to roll the hive. So what I then do is I take that wire and I thread it through twice between the little eyelet here, which I've welded on, and the pot piece of rebar, and then of course I thread it through until it's very tight, okay, making sure of course that these are way down, and I do that on 2 sides. So then what you have is the hive body is now tied into the ground, okay. On some of my sites I'll actually weld nails in that go that way, and I'll hit them in like that, like this one was, and it's more difficult to pull them out. Okay, those are probably more permanent sites. Now what I do with the chain, take the chain and I hook it into the one side, and on the other side here I hook it into one of these, just like that. You can see it's hooked in there, and then I put my drill in, and that pulls the chain up, and it's tight, very, very tight. Can't get any tighter than that. Now you can't, bear in mind this will be firm in the ground, you can't move the lid. You can't. If you're a badger, if there are cattle in here, if there are people that are trying to take the hive out, they won't be able to pull the hive out. And what I'll also do is I'll put one hive here, one hive 2 meters away, 3 meters away, and another one another 3 meters away. Sometimes all facing towards each other, so that if they mess with one hive, the other hives will actually start waking up, and the signal will be out. And if it's in the daytime, all the bees that are coming in with the pollen and nectar will be trying to get in, and they'll start stinging. So the hooks are basically for when I'm moving the hives. All I do, instead of trying to catch at the back or the sides, what I can do is I can just lift the hive like this, and that's very handy, particularly if you're on your own, and you're putting them onto your vehicle and you're putting one on top of the other with supers. They tend to get very heavy, so this helps a great deal. If you've got two people, one person can carry on that side and one person can carry on this side, and you can take one hive and two supers quite easily and lift it onto the vehicle. So there we have it. There are many other things that I do for security, but they'll follow in other videos. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and pass it on. Thank you.